Success. Success is defined as the accomplishment of an aim or purpose and the good and bad outcome of an undertaking. Now, before I talk about all the kind of deep nitty-gritty stuff, I'll talk about why I'm making this video. It's mainly because it's a very important topic now. Success is more intricated in our culture now than it ever has been before. And you might be thinking, well, no matter what, like humans usually have a drive for success. Why now specifically, right? Well, we'll take something like even music, like rap. Nowadays, because of social media, we have a very narrow vision or a very specific vision on what success is. Like in rap, we hear rappers go on about their gold chains and the 10 bitches they pull every day. Famous people seeing all their money, house tours, YouTubers, actors. And in the internet, I'm not just saying, oh, because of the internet, our idea of success is changing. I'm saying our idea of success is being formed by the internet now. This is also from my EPQ, so hi Toby if you're watching, hi EPQ moderators or like reviewers and university reviewers if you watch this. And I guess clear components of success as well are stuff like happiness and fulfillment, learning and growth, meaning and purpose, attitude and behavior, and legacy. Which legacy kind of ties into influence. Anyway, on to the interviews. So, the first person I wanted to interview was my mom. I know I usually do interviews where it's out in public and on the streets, but I wanted this to be a bit more personal to me. The main goal is to interview people that I actually look up to. First of all, I think she's the best mother I could ever ask for. Thank you, Mom. She's successful in other fields as well, not just in the topic of family. Let's hear what she has to say. What do you think success is?
Oh, that's a good question. I think success is very subjective. Mm-hmm. It depends on the individual's goal. Mm-hmm. And it's all about being able to achieve them.
Would you call yourself successful?
I think for myself, I would say that I've succeeded, but it depends at what point in time you ask me. Like right now, for example, I am on a journey, so I wouldn't be able to say I'm successful. Really? Because it's a new journey. And you start from scratch. Yeah. So I've been successful, but right now I am trying to achieve my goal in order to be successful again.
So then you think there are degrees to success?
Yeah, definitely, there are.
What's the highest degree of success?
When you are fulfilled. And
fulfillment's the highest degree?
Yes, I think that when you are fulfilled and you believe you have done everything to reach your goals.
How do you think people get successful then?
Working very, very, very hard and understanding that you have to. I've rarely seen anyone succeeding without working hard. Being content is eventually success to me. It's all relative to you and your standards. I think you have to have certain criteria to say I'm content, right? You need to do the basics, you need to go, you need to contribute to society, you need to work, etc. If you do that, you don't necessarily need to push it to become a billionaire to say I'm successful, right? On the other hand, sitting in your room just playing games has zero impact on anything, not even on you. So I don't necessarily think that this is even a success, right? Once you hit these boxes, then it is all about you. Some people do not have a billion and they are content, they are happy, and to themselves they are very successful. Maybe to them being honest, working hard at what they do, but not to another extreme, building a family, maybe that's success to them.
So then ethics is a big part of success or not?
To me, yes.
It is?
Yeah.
So you can't say that someone who says the ends justify the means is successful? Or
no.
Nothing?
No.
Under no circumstance?
No.
Interesting.
I actually have zero interest and I would never call someone successful knowing that they cheated the system or they were not honest or I actually, it's a put off to me. Success is a positive thing.
Yeah.
So by definition, you need to do it in the most honorable way.
Yeah, that helps. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, as well as interviewing some people in my life that I actually find influential and I kind of take inspiration from, I also want to talk about modern figures that I find inspirational. In the next two segments, by the way, I'm going to talk about the most successful people on the planet, but here I just want to talk about who I kind of look up to. So the first person is Jordan Peterson. Now, I know for the examiners listening and everything, Jordan Peterson doesn't have an incredible reputation. For some people he does. He's shaped thousands of lives, millions even. But there's a kind of impression that some people get that he's kind of controversial, let's just say. Jordan Peterson was born 1962, making him 61 years old. He's a Canadian psychologist and media commentator. He started to really get attention around the 2010s because of his political and cultural views, and he's often described as conservative. So far that makes you think, oh, he's a big controversial guy or whatever, but if you really listen deeply into the podcasts he's been on and the things he said, I haven't even picked up his book, and I really want to read it. But from what I've heard of him, and I've heard I'll be honest, I've heard about 10 hours of him just babbling on about a bunch of stuff. There's about 10%, maybe 5% of the stuff that he said I don't find to be too based, so mainly because sometimes he gets stuck in his ways or whatever. But overall, the stuff he said about how to be a better person really inspired me.
How, as a message to people who are watching this, how do they know, what are the heuristics they use? What are the signposts they use to understand, am I on the right path? Is what I'm being taught motivated from a sense of what's actually best for the community that I'm nominally caring for?
Well, that requires, you might say, well, that requires careful meditation and prayer. If you wanted to be traditional about it, I would say you have to orient, you have to determine, this is a process of soul searching. What are you oriented towards? And the answer could easily be nothing. You got to be oriented towards something, because otherwise you're disoriented. You just spin around in circles and then you suffer. And so do people around you. It's not a good solution. Orient yourself towards something. You have to figure out what it is. What will work for you? What goal would justify the suffering of your life? Start trying to piece that together. You're going to get better at it. But it's a personal process. And you should use your education to inform that. So you need a personal place to stand, because otherwise you're going to be handed a place to stand on a plate. And it may be one that makes you a puppet of someone else's goals. So I would say, what are the processes? Well, I think what I've recommended to people is clean up your room. That's a good start. Organize your local landscape. Schedule your time. Start taking control of yourself. See if you can stop saying things you know to be lies. That's not the same as telling the truth. Here's another idea. Stop saying and doing things that make you feel weak. Just all you have to do is pay attention to that. Some things you do will make you feel disintegrated. It's a physiological sensation. Disintegrated and weak. Some things improve your integrity and some things disintegrate you. Now, the things that disintegrate you, you often do to impress other people, or because you're taking a shortcut, or you're escaping what you know to be your moral obligation. And your moral obligation stems naturally from your aims. Like once you have aims, you have moral obligations. They come together because the moral obligation is what you need to do in order to obtain the aim. And if you don't have an aim, well, then you're aimless, so that's not a solution. So along with the aims come the moral obligations. Then when you violate the moral obligations, you'll have a sense of that violation. It's like, well, you have to stop doing that. Or that's something you could do. You don't have to. You don't have to do any of this. But I would say that's where people should start. You start small.
Part of the reason I'm even doing this whole YouTube channel is because of Jordan Peterson and the other guy I'll mention in a few minutes. People walk up to him, people tell me, oh, I was about to commit suicide until I heard you on this or that. And in my opinion of what success is, which I'll talk about in my conclusion, he's a guy that I kind of want to be like. The second person I want to talk about is David Goggins. He was born 1975. He's about 48 years old. He's a retired United States Navy SEAL, ultra runner, and public speaker. And he's also got a book that I also need to read. If you want any kind of motivation, he is a pure source of, like, it makes you want to get off your ass and run instantly. Like, he's an ultra runner. Like, every time I run, when I listen to him speak on podcasts, oh my God. Like, I can run an extra, like, 20 miles or something.
How'd you become that guy?
You know what? I grew up not that guy. My dad owned skating rinks, he owned bars, he ran prostitutes from Canada to Buffalo, New York, and beat the shit out of me, beat the shit out, out of my mom. My whole life I was afraid, but I had this fucking voice, this conscience that would always be battling me, saying, hey, you gotta get up and do something. I didn't want to do shit. I had social anxiety. I was just a jacked up kid from living in this tortured home. I wanted to get in the military, wanted to join the Air Force, and I was afraid of the water, terrified of the water. And I learned how to swim, but what gets everybody in this training, in all special ops training, is the water confidence, where they try to pretty much drown your ass. And there's only 1% African Americans in special operations. And I didn't know anything about African, like a lot of them are negative buoyant, which I am, because of the bone density. I struggled. 6 weeks into the program, the doctor gave me a blood test and realized I have sickle cell. So the fear overcame me, and all my insecurities from my dad, from this small town, from everything started coming back. And the sergeant said, hey, you got to start from day one because you missed, that week of training. And I broke. I pretty much quit. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300, to 297 was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. I saw these guys going in the water, so I was terrified of it. And it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities. And I saw real men, what I thought were real men who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there. And so I sat there for a while and I was like, man, I've got it. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And so I had to man up. And I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. People who are hearing this shit, they will never really understand and grasp when you face these things and so many things, how they keep you up and haunt you at night.
I think there's a lot of people out there that know what you're talking about.
I mean, and so that's what it did. So I started calling recruiters up. I said, I'm gonna go be a fucking Navy SEAL. And every recruiter, so there's a weight and height, so the weight and height limit. To get into the class I had to get into, I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab. I'm going back to work, man. This is my life. I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called nigger, be called whatever the fuck in the world, and be able to stand in the fucking room and say, go fuck yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. And I lost the weight. And I went back to recruiter. I got into that class, and I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. I didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that the fucking mind is what you created. And I started opening different doors that I didn't think were even there, that I didn't think even existed. And the more doors I opened up, the more I started realizing that my potential is damn near endless. And it changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins.
It really inspires me. Gives you the quote, oh, what's your excuse? The reason why I like both of these guys is that overall, their influence on people is immense. I'm so grateful I ran into these two because they've really changed my life for the better. I just couldn't be where I am right now without them. The next person I wanted to interview was my auntie Leila Ben-Gacem. I look up to her because, she's a philanthropist. She also owns a charitable company called Blue Water. So I felt it was really important to focus on other aspects of success as well, including making an impact on the planet, being charitable. She's also got a thriving business, Ben-Gacem. So let's hear what she has to say. So, Lalo, what do you think success is?
The word success makes me panic because it sounds like it's the end goal. And I don't like the feeling that I've reached somewhere. Success to me is you keep on going, you keep on achieving, you keep on doing, you keep on improving, you keep on learning, you keep on falling, you keep on standing again, you keep on making new friends. I think a successful person is someone who just keeps on going. Who sees no walls, no doors, no challenges. You know, they fall and they stand up. I think the toughest thing in life is to start over.
Yeah.
And just to build that courage, the internal motivation is the toughest journey.
Yeah.
And I think I admire people who push themselves despite everything to keep on going and achieving and restarting. I've had challenges which I overcome, so I'm a more resilient version of myself. So yeah, maybe I learned how to stand up again better. I think success without ethics, without empathy, you might relatively reach some of your goals, but it will not be sustainable.
So there is like a part of ethics that is involved in success.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Ethics, empathy. I think we need to put people first. We need to, whatever we do, the human being needs to be the most valued in anything we do. All people who achieved partial success in the history of mankind, but were not ethical, did not have a nice ending. So it's not sustainable.
Yeah. So the whole point is, even it doesn't matter if it's called success. The whole point is if you do unethical things to reach success, then usually it's not sustainable in the first place.
Yes, I believe it. So, and this is also a matter of maturity. How comfortable are you with yourself to have your own definition of success, regardless of social expectations? Yeah. And that's often not easy. It takes a lot of courage to have the strong belief and will to fight for success that you define for yourself, regardless of social pressure.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the reason why I actually think that success is so heavily tied to influence is because at the end of the day, the more people you influence, the more people recognize you. The more people recognize you, the bigger impact you have on your net impact, or whatever you want to call it, is usually bigger if more people know you. Now, obviously, if you have a big impact on 5 people and you've given them life-changing advice, versus if you've just provided like a little bit of entertainment for like 1,000 people, the person who's helped 5, in my opinion, is more influential because he's actually, influenced the people more, whereas the other person is just kind of giving them some entertainment. So I guess the way I kind of look at success, this is part of it, and I'll talk about this more in my conclusion, is how many people you've influenced and how big the impact of that was. Previously, we've established that ethics does have a factor in success. So for the most influential people on the planet or in history, I've kind of divided 6 people into 2 categories. First being religious or messengers or culture changing, something like that. And then the second being innovators. Firstly, in the religious category, we have the Prophet Muhammad, Jesus Christ, and the Buddha. Whether you believe in them or not doesn't really matter too much in this case. They sent a strong message that influenced billions of people's lives. Muhammad reinforcing the teachings of Adam, Abraham, Jesus, and Moses, including many others, and Jesus Christ preaching about the message of God, and the Buddha preaching a life full of suffering and happiness. These figures are so influential, whether you believe in their religion or not, that without them, our culture and our society all across the globe, no matter where you are on the planet, would be different. I don't know if I'm religious or not. I'm still kind of discovering that part of myself, but that's irrelevant. I want to make this clear that it's about the influence that these guys have had on the planet that have made them successful. But anyway, now onto the innovators, who are Isaac Newton, Confictus, and Chai Lun. Wait, I'm just gonna see if I've pronounced that correctly.
What is the correct pronunciation for it? Kai Lan.
My bad. Kai Lan. Obviously, Isaac Newton was the guy who discovered the laws of gravity and motion. Confictus was a philosopher who influenced the planet based on his thoughts of ethics, good behavior, and moral character.
What is the correct pronunciation for it?
And then Kai Lan, who is the inventor of paper and the paper making process. So there's no doubt that for these people specifically, the way they got their influence or success is by experience and being very, very smart, by being super geniuses. Even the philosopher, the inventor, the physicist, the simple answer for them is just creativity, innovation, hard work, and just being smart in general. And the final person I'll be interviewing is my grandpa, Hamida Ben-Gacem. I am so inspired by his story from when he was just like a little farmer kid to when he literally went to Harvard University. And if you want to know more about him, aside from like this specific topic and what I'm going to be asking him, please grab his book. I think it's really inspiring. I've read all of it, and I think it'll give you more of an insight if you're really interested in this topic on why he answered the way he did. Let's hear what he has to say. All right, first, Grandpa, what do you think success is?
Success, for me, means very, very hard work. This will require, to be realistic. What's mean realistic? To listen to everybody. To whether a child or an old man, So you should analyze everything and don't forget this any single word of explanation, So the main thing is to work hard, to be realistic, to see in long run, and to have some experience, to listen first of all to people who has experience in any field, this is, and we should also have some idea about what we want in the life, whether to be, I don't know, a teacher or astronaut or anything. So you should always follow your target. This is very important. We should fix a target and try to reach it. Reach the target, they may require so many other additional, thing, So, first of all, work hard, listen to people, try to do the best, and not neglect any single word in the life, This is the basic, asset of success. So you have always to try to do better, to be the best, This is the fight of the life, And this is the successful. Have one idea, be sure that you can reach everything, and you should work hard and hard and hard. And I think this is the success. It's up to you, you have to be confident on yourself, and look always around people who made a success, why, and how do they have, because everybody has the same chance, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, the only difference is to be sure on yourself, to be ambitious, and to work hard to reach what you want. This is not, this is it. I'm sorry, I can't explain it to you.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about how to be successful, what success is,
and what I think success is, my definition of success, because obviously it's subjective. So first, how to be successful. I agree with my grandpa that being open-minded helps. Listening to everyone's opinions, no matter if they're crazy bums or gods, I don't know, listen to everyone's opinions, because that also shows that you're wise and you're willing to learn, which is a good indicator of success, as well as increasing your likelihood to become successful. Next, know what you want. If you want to be successful, you have to know what you want in the first place, especially because of the broad subjective term that is success. If you want to be successful, you need to find the definition of success that suits you as well as following everything that I'm going to mention of what success is. So first, what is success? I know I always use this in a lot of my videos, but I'm going to rely on Maslow's hierarchy to kind of help me through this as well. I've talked about self-confidence, I've talked about self-worth. All of that is an upper middle tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but the top, self-actualization, is how you get success. Once you have that, you are successful. Now, self-actualization is the desire to become the most of what someone can be. So, how do you do that? First, you do that by working hard. It's the biggest kind of foundations of success, working hard. Influencing people positively. The more of a hard worker you are, the more people look at that in a positive light. Now, what do I mean by that? It means, first of all, that if you influence people around you based on your hard work, they're going to want to be hardworking, which is an indicator of success because you're influencing people positively. You have to be ethical. If you're not ethical, and let's say you're some billionaire who's cut all the corners they can, tax evaded, all of that shit, you're not really successful. You're not someone that people look up to, or at least if you've completed every step of the Maslow's hierarchy, you are not going to be looking at him thinking, I need to be that now. Because, well, the scummy billionaire isn't his best self. Even if he's a billionaire, there's more important things to it, like ethics. My last 2 points are resilience and reaching your goal. Obviously, these two are very tied together. You're gonna fail in your life. No matter how rich you are, no matter how successful you are, that means you have to be ready for failure and you have to rise up to failure in order to be successful and succeed. And then that leads you to reaching your goal. Now, before I talk about my opinions of what success means to me, when I say reaching your goal, that could mean anything, alright? As long as it has all of these categories implemented in your goal and you reached your goal, you are successful. It's as simple as that. What do I consider to be successful? This is where I talk to myself in the future, alright? Hi Walid, you better be what I want you to be. I swear to God. To me, success is mainly about influence and ethics, alright? For me, I'm very harsh on myself, and Walid, I'm talking to you, remember. When I say influential, I mean influential. I'm serious. I mean higher than Jordan Peterson, higher than David Goggins. I want to make an impact on the world. I want to make a kind of change that Martin Luther King did. I want to have the kind of resilience and maturity that Jesus Christ had. I want to have the work ethic of David Goggins. I want to have my kind of influence wants to be similar to Jordan Peterson's. This is achieving my best self, my fullest self. And with that in mind, you need to strive to be higher than what you can even fathom to achieve. All the greatest successful people have this kind of trait of almost having a slightly bigger expectations of what they objectively are or have. So Walid, I hope when you're looking back at this, you can have a good smile on your face, realizing, good job, bro, you made it. And to my examiners, I hope this was alright. I know I had a bit of swearing and stuff. It's just I want to try to be authentic. I want universities and I want people to know who I actually am. I don't want to put on this fake persona for anyone. This is me, and I'm not going to change myself unless I really understand what I did wrong and I learn from that. And to my audience, like, yeah, sorry it's a bit of a long video, like, it's partly for my EPQ, but like, it also shows where I want my channel to be as well. I want my channel to be successful. My channel is kind of a big part of how I'm gonna use my influence, or it's my starting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See ya.